All right, we are live in studio. Let me make sure I see this chat. I can. Let's get started. All right. So, our discussion questions for the week, which are usually released on Tuesdays, but I'll be honest and let you know I just released them this morning. Bear with me, but it's still good. So just pay attention. All right. But our discussion questions are: does your content make the right people feel seen, or is it just to get attention from everybody? Okay, so are you going narrow or are you going wide? If your content went viral tomorrow, would the right people actually be watching? Okay, because some of us may get a lot of views, but who's in those views? Are the right people in there? The last question: would your current content attract a buyer or just someone who likes your posts? So you can kind of see all of these questions are related. We didn't give people a chance to answer them in our community on Facebook or the community here on YouTube, but that's okay. Answer it now. Okay, it's easy questions this time, so you can answer them now. We're going to start with Shawana Kennedy, Kennedy Media. Shawana, you got the questions in front of you. Go ahead and answer them either as one encompassing answer, or you can go one by one and answer each, but they're kind of the same thing, right?
Good morning. Good morning.
Right.
I'm staring at this question. I would have to say, let me see. Wait, now I got to put it back in my face. Okay.
I know, right?
Would your current content attract a buyer?
Mhm.
Yes, I believe it would. And I definitely post to make sure that I'm talking to my ideal client versus just anybody that I may show up in their scroll. And yes,
Mhm.
right now, because as of not even 24 hours ago, I was a big girl and did something I should have done a long time ago and pushed out my very first ad. And that ad is
Yes.
intentional and it's driving them to take an assessment. So I would say yes, yes, and yes.
All right. I love that for you. I love that for you. Kimberly Miles is in studio, but she is probably driving, so she's sending up heart emojis. Uh You better stop sending up heart emojis if you're driving, is what we're going to say. All right, let's go to Dr. Latoya Davis. Good morning. What do you think about these questions? You want to answer them one by one? You want to answer them as an all-encompassing question?
Yes, I think all encompassing will work for me. In general, I do believe that I put out content that is, or that my person will feel seen and recognize that I'm talking to them. And if I went viral, then it would be the right people. Now, would it attract a buyer or just someone who likes my post? I think I do a mix of thought leadership posts and like in general, I think my content my goal is for it to create a larger picture. So it depends on what goes viral, right? Are they ready to buy? But that's intentional for me because I recognize I want to reach more people than my price point necessarily will allow. And so I intentionally put out content that educates and not necessarily just for the buyer.
Love it. I love that you're thinking all around the question, right? Because our theme for today's discussion is content that attracts for eventual, okay, conversion. That is our goal, right? We don't want likes. We don't just want engagement. We want to be talking to people that are going to buy from us, right? So that means we need to be going beyond content types that work. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you should do a question. You should do a challenge. You should do this. We're going beyond that. Okay. We're going beyond how to create a hook, going beyond, content just to get attention from anybody, content for trust and content, giving you a few content mistakes, what you're doing wrong. Right. We're going beyond that. We're going to the next level. We're going to make it make sense, right? So, what is the next level? It is understanding that the content is not primarily about, I'm sorry, attention. It's not. We're beyond that now. Our next level is that content is about audience filtration and buyer conditioning, right? Most of us, especially if you're listening to me and you've been listening to me, most of us have been creating content for a while. And if we look at having created content for a while, we now have to look at how well has it been doing its job, though, right? So we got the muscle of creating content. We got the muscle of creating content consistently. We are beyond that now. We are beyond the likes. We are beyond people seeing it. Now we need the right people to see it. And the right people are people who are going to buy from us. Okay. So most entrepreneurs are still creating content, hoping that everybody likes it, nobody gets offended or is turned off by it. The engagement stays high and the algorithm pushes it out to as many people as possible. That's what we used to think, going beyond that, but that is still what some entrepreneurs think. That just creates broad attention. But broad attention creates weaker conversion. So what we want is the attention of the right people. And that doesn't have to be at scale at first, because what you recognize is even if you walk into a room and there's a whole bunch of people, but the right people are not necessarily in that room, that's not that good, right? But if you walk into a room with a few people, but those few people, everybody is an ideal client, yeah, that's way better. We got Dr. Tachi over here. Good morning, Dr. Tachi. We got somebody, you the best 11. Good morning, good morning. Okay, so that's, we want to go beyond just putting stuff out there, being consistent and getting engagement, because content should be selective, meaning the right people feel magnetized to it and the wrong people feel disconnected to it. We do want to repel people, y'all. We don't want to attract everybody. We want to attract our people, and we want people that are not our people to not necessarily pay attention to us, okay? Because the people who are not our people will never buy. So why would we be catering to them? Okay, so keep that in mind, because I have taught you guys in the past that marketing does two things: it attracts and it repels. We don't want to talk to everybody, all right? We want to talk to the right somebody. So, how do we do that? Well, the first transformation with your content is going from content creation to buyer qualification, okay? Because most people think that you're just supposed to get visibility, engagement, growth, likes, shares, that. But the job of your content is qualifying people psychologically before the sale. So the strongest brands, they do repel. They repel misaligned buyers early on. So they don't just repel, they repel people early on. Like when you first start hearing them talking, they want you to know it's for you or not for you early in the content. So content strategy filters before sales calls ever happens. Okay. So what does that look like? Ha! Guess what I got for you today? I have a chat GPT prompt for you. If you were in studio, what we do is this in studio, people have access to my notes. So they have every word that I'm giving to you guys, but they also have the prompt already. So you need to think about, how can I get in studio so that I can get more value? All right. Now let's go to the second transformation. The second transformation is going from attention grabbing to identity activation. This is where you hear people that have content where they tend to talk about at least two identities: the one you don't want to be and the one you do want to be, right? So who you are right now that you want to get away from, and who you want to be in the future. But how do you activate that identity? Well, your weak hooks might get some curiosity about what the content is about. However, we got to go beyond hooks now, y'all. So your hooks should trigger people that say, wait, this is talking directly about me, either who I am right now or who I want to be in the future. All right. Now, let me give you an example. Gone is 3 ways to grow faster. That's weak, right? So a stronger version of that is, you don't need more motivation. You need operational systems that stop your business from depending on your memory. So that's not just saying, hey, these are 3 ways to grow your business faster with operations, right? No, we didn't talk about that. We're talking about, hey, you've been trying to motivate yourself and that's not been working. We know, because you don't need more motivation. You need systems, and you need systems that does this particular thing that you have not been able to do without these systems. You immediately self-identify and say, wait, that's me. Because you don't necessarily identify with 3 ways to grow faster. Okay, so me being in operations and having offers that restructure in an operation manner, I need you to understand that your problem is on the operations level. So 3 ways to grow faster is not good enough. That's weak. But when I go into, hey, you can't motivate yourself into better operations. You need systems. That is stronger. Okay, so great hooks that qualify. Well, it 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 basically says, if this is you, this aspect of it, then I'm talking to you. So that particular hook, it identifies overwhelmed entrepreneurs. It identifies people that value structure. They might not know about operations, but they know what it is, and they know they need it, and they know they don't have it. Okay, business owners that need that sustainability, they need that foundation, right? And you know who it repels? It repels people who just are supposed to always be doing something. No structure around it. They just need to always be doing something. It repels people that jump from thing to thing that they think will work, because that's a lack of structure also. And it's helping people to understand that all of this motivation stuff, you need more than motivation. And if y'all follow me, you know I think motivation is bullshit anyway. I get that from Mel Robbins, because motivation is not enough. Motivation is a feeling. Systems help you to get things done when you don't feel like getting them done, right? There's a system that gets them done. So we don't want to rely on motivation. We want to rely on systems, all right? Now, our next content transformation is going from just posting topics to behavior engineering. That sounds deep, right? It is, because every piece of content should intentionally create that psychological shift, not just throw information out there. That's why a lot of us, we give great information, but we're not getting the transformation of getting the right eyes, because you're just giving information and you're not using the information to create a psychological shift. So let me tell you what that looks like. Your content should strategically create a few things, one of which we've talked about, which is identity. It should help them to realize who they are now, who they want to be, okay? Who they don't want to be, which is who they are now, and who they do want to be, which is who, where they're trying to go. We want to create awareness. We want it to resonate with them emotionally. People buy because of emotions. How did you make them feel? Because if you can make them feel sick and tired of being sick and tired, then they're more apt to buy your solution. Your content should be creating trust. It should be shifting beliefs. In the example, I shifted the belief from, if you were just motivated enough, it would happen, to motivation is not going to get you there. Systems are going to get you there, right? It should create urgency. It should validate your authority as the thought leader or the expert. It should self-disqualify. Okay, so if you're one person that thinks motivation is everything, I'm not for you, because I've just told you it's not about motivation, it's about systems. If you're the type of person who feel like you don't need structure, then I'm not talking to you, right? So it should self-disqualify people, and it should make them more ready to make that buying decision. So decision readiness. So content becomes buyer movement if you are using your psychological shifts. So we don't want to post randomly. We actually want to create the correct behaviors from the correct people. All right. Now, the next content transformation, taking them from sharing stories, taking it from sharing stories to identity mirroring. Okay. So a lot of you tell stories about yourself, right? I'm the expert, is this, is that. But what you should be doing is tell stories that help the audience see themselves differently. This is why that identity thing is so important. So a strong storyteller would say, I understand where you are because I understand how this feels, right? So again, It creates that psychological safety that they're in the right place. They feel understood. They feel like you're the one that has what they need to get to the next level that they're trying to get to. So what you want to add into your storytelling is you want that story that you're telling to reveal a few things. This is your list. Your storytelling should reveal consequences. See, some people are staying right where they are, or they're afraid to make a move. And you need to help them to understand there are consequences to staying where they are. Okay. You need to reveal what the transformation actually should be. Today, I'm telling you that your transformation with your content should not just be engagement, it should be qualified buyers. Okay, so your content should reveal the transformation. Your content should shift mindset. Okay, it's not motivation, it's systems. Shift the concept. Okay, all right, identity evolution. Once you identify who they are, show them who they should be. Show them what that looks like. Sometimes it's not just going from one identity to another. Sometimes it's this is who you are. The next stage is to be this. The next stage is to be this. And the next stage is to be this. Sometimes it's not just two identities, who they currently are to who they want to be. Sometimes there are levels to who they want to be. Okay. So sometimes it has to be in order to go from somebody creating content, not just from engagement, right, to content that is getting buyers ready. That's a jump. So sometimes it's, oh, okay, you need to find out exactly who your ideal client is. So you morph into somebody who knows your ideal client better so that you can resonate with them emotionally. Then you morph into the person that knows their client better and knows where they want to be, right? So it might be different levels. So identity evolution. You also want to reveal hidden patterns. There are a lot of things about the service that you provide that a lot of service providers are not talking about. There are hidden patterns with the people who need what you offer that you need to reveal because they don't understand that people are talking to them because you're not talking to the patterns that are not the obvious patterns, right? So again, in the example that I gave, I talked about, content is more than hooks. Content is more than being consistent. Content is more than about getting as much attention as possible. But is that not what everybody is talking about? Most people talking to you guys about content are talking about those things. But the hidden pattern that you need to understand is that those things alone are not going to make the amount of people buy from you so that you can hit your revenue goals. So the hidden pattern is, hey, you need to be shifting behaviors. You need to be adding in buyer identities. You need to be adding in buyer psychology. Those are the hidden patterns that you need to be adding in. And so those are the things I should be talking about in content. And last but not least, emotional truths, right? Emotional truth when it comes to content is it takes a lot of work to do content. It takes a lot of work. We already have a whole list of things to do as entrepreneurs, and it takes a lot of work to get content done. It takes a lot of work to try to be consistent with it, only to not have buyers. What? What do you mean I did all this work and still people aren't buying from me? Right? So the emotional truth is when you're doing content the wrong way, you can get sick and tired real quick and you can quit on your dream just that quick. So when you start doing content the right way, so that you are creating buyers and not just looky-loos, not just people who are cheering you on, right? Then you can start hitting those revenue goals and you can start, guess what? Feeling like a real business owner. Because see, I know your emotional thing is you putting all this stuff into a business, but it doesn't feel like a business. Emotional truth, okay? So the audience should not just leave your content saying, wow, the content creator is amazing, right? So that's why when I ask my in-studio audience, or I ask you guys, like, did you learn something? Did you see it helpful? Can it change your business? I want you to tell me, did the strategy help? I don't want you to tell me how great I am, because me being great is not going to help your business. It's not going to make you have more buyers and have your business grow. But if the strategies work, right, then you benefit from that. So they should not be saying you're amazing. They should be saying, hey, the person she's talking about, that's me. Or they should be saying, what she's saying, that's where I want to be. I want my business to not be here. I want it to be there. Okay, cool beans. The next transformation is going from planning your posts, your content, to revenue sequencing. Okay, this is our last transformation, but I think it's one of the most important because most entrepreneurs organize content by platform or about how they feel, and they should be organizing their content by conversion objective. Okay, so what does that mean? That means that your content calendar should be a sales movement calendar. I talk a lot about the marketing runway. And I tell you that we start with hitting the pain points. The next we talk about the transformation, and then the next we talk about an event or something that can help them to get the transformation and be where they want to be. And then you pitch the offer, and then the last week of the runway is promoting the offer, right? That is a movement. You're moving them through their pain. You're letting them know they don't have to be in pain because there is transformation even for them. And then you introduce them to a way to get this transformation, which is your offer. That's movement. We want our content to move people through behaviors, psychology, and mindset. So it's not just scheduling your posts, okay? So here are a few questions that you need to be asking when you are trying to create posts that create buying movement. Okay, so what belief needs to shift this week? All right, I already know what I'm talking about with you guys for these make it make sense all year long. I'm taking you through a sequence. I'm moving you, right? I started with clarity. We started with clarity because that's where all of this starts with systems and operations, and all. It starts with being clear. We've already talked about clarity. This week, we're kind of talking about how we're going to use that clarity to attract the right people. So, what beliefs do you need to shift this week? And that means where in the movement are you? What objections need to be dismantled? We've talked about that last week. You should know what objections your ideal clients have to you, to your offers, to the pain, to the transformation. You should know all the objections that they have, okay? And guess what you should be doing? Talking about them before they make those objections. That helps them feel seen. That helps them feel like you understand. And we're already busting through these things before we even ask for the sale. You should be asking what pain point needs amplification. Which one of these pain points is so painful, that's the one you need to press, right? Because sometimes being in pain is so familiar that people have become okay with the pain. But if you keep pressing on it, that's a little worse. There's a joke that a lady goes to a doctor and she says, "Hey, every time I touch my arm, it hurts," and the doctor tells her stop touching it. Right? Some things are painful as is, but when they're pressed upon, they're even more painful. That's what we want to do with our content. I know that you want your business to grow, but right now in the thick of things, you're kind of okay with what you're doing because you're doing busy work and you think you're doing something to make your business grow, but you still lack structure. So I need to keep pressing on the pain point of you don't have structure, and therefore your business is not growing. The answer to that is structure. Press the pain points, all right? You should be asking what authority proof do they need reinforced? The people that follow you should kind of think that you the shit, right? They should think that you are great at what you do and you can do it for them, and they believe that you can solve the problem. So, what proof do they need to get to that point that they think that you're the shit? All right. What story creates emotional connection? Let me tell you, that sick and tired, that be hitting y'all. I know, because y'all are sick and tired. I know that. So I use words like that, phrases like that, because I know that that's where you are. I know that it takes money to make money is tearing y'all up. Y'all are investing your time. You invested in AI tools you don't know how to use. You invested in coaches that don't seem to understand and help you. You right here buying these DIY products that you can't work because you're not the engineer. So some of the ambiguity in these products is just too much and it's not working for you. So I know all of these things so I can connect with you on the emotion that you are. Do you know that about your ideal client? You should be asking what content prepares them for the offer. Okay. I tell y'all all the time, clarity comes before strategy. All of these workshops that y'all buy, all of these challenges that y'all in, they don't work because you don't even have clarity. Yeah. So when you jump to try to do high level strategy without clarity, you have invested in what you think is going to be a shortcut, but it's not. So how do you prepare people for the offer? There are things that you can tell them to do so that when they get the offer, they can get to the transformation faster, or they can get to the transformation at all. All right. What content supports urgency? Urgency. We want them to buy now rather than later. We want them to get to that transformation now rather than later. We want them to get out of pain now rather than later. All right. What content qualifies buyers? I need you to think about who you're attracting and why they're not buying. Because some of us are attracting people that are so close to ideal clients, but they're not buying. And what I want to remind you is if they don't buy, they're not necessarily an ideal client. Okay, they can have every other trait of being the ideal client, but if they're not buying, something is wrong. Therefore, it's not ideal. Okay, so we want to have qualified buyers come in. And for some of us, we've been having conversations on this show. For some of us, it's not just saying who our stuff is for, it's doubling down on who it's not for. So we can stop attracting them people that we know are not going to get to transformation, are hard to get to transformation because they're not going to do the things, right? Or just they're looking for something else that what you offer is not going to get them. We don't want those people. It's okay to tell those people to go away very nicely. What are the kids saying these days? Go away respectfully. Okay. Last but not least, we want our content to intentionally repel, which is what I just said, because poor fit leads, they don't work. Okay. So this strategy of going from just posting to actually revenue sequencing or taking them through a motion towards the offer and being qualified when they get there, that is strategic content planning. And the difference between just posting and doing that is money in the bank. All right. Now, I do have a chat GPT prompt. I've already asked the ladies in studio to pick one of the transformations. I'm gonna if the whole front will fit in the, okay. I think that's it, y'all. Let me give this to you too. Oh, wait. Okay, here we go. Lord, I hate the character limitations of the YouTube chat because it seemed like everything I try to put in there is just too long. So here's, I just split the prompt up. There you go. All right. So don't y'all say y'all don't have the prompt. The problem is y'all don't have my show notes, so you have to remember what I said for the different transformations. But hey, do your best. Try to be in studio so you can get access to these notes though. All right. So I'm going to start with Shawana Kennedy Media. I want two things. First, I want you to identify which of the transformations, and you have the notes, so you don't even have to remember, but I'm gonna list them in just a second. Which of the transformations you know you need to work the hardest, from this to that. And also, I want you to tell me which transformation did you use the prompt on, and tell us some ideas that it gave you. All right. So the transformations, let me start from the beginning. Number one was going from content creation to buyer qualification. Number two was going from just posting topics to behavior engineering. Number three was going from sharing stories to identity mirroring. And last but not least was going from just posting as a plan, like a content plan, to revenue sequencing or buyer movement. Okay. So which one of those was kind of eye-opening for you, Shawana, and which one did you use the prompt on, and what was your result?
Ooh. Okay. All of these felt really, really good to me. What jumped out to me was number 2 and number 4. I'm trying to see. Hold on. I didn't know you was about to call me first. 2 and 4, can you read them? Because those are the two that I know I immediately wrote down. And let me see, I'm trying to get over to my prompt.
So 2 was from attention grabbing to identity activation, which I feel like I'm now because I said number 1, 2, number 3. 4, and then didn't number it in my notes. So number 1 was content creation. Number 2, attention grabbing to identity activation. Number 3 is going from just posting topics to behavior engineering. Number 4, sharing stories to identity mirroring. And number 5 was planning posts to revenue sequencing. So you said 2 and 4. 2 was going from attention grabbing to identity activation, and 4 was from sharing stories to identity mirroring.
Yeah, reason why I know I too jumped out at me because one of the things that I tried my hardest is to make sure that people can self-identify. Uh, because like you said, I'm y'all, anybody that know me, they know I am about the rah, 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 but I also challenge you in the cheering, and which means you need to be able to self-identify because you do need to move from motivation to that momentum to move to action. And then the number 4, when I think about the sharing the stories versus the identity mirror, again, those two went together for me because again I need you to see yourself, and like you said, um, even when thinking about notes that I was over here trying to take is you need to be able to know what is that consequence when you don't, and we really do
Yes.
need to stop making excuses and finding reasons why we can't or we don't, instead of saying how can I and what am I going to shift to make this happen.
Yeah.
And so that's why those like stuck out for me because that's the seat I choose to sit in, and those are the people that I need to be, and want to work with and work, alongside.
And I
Um,
think that's very important because what we have to understand about human behavior is are telling themselves stories, right?
mhm, mhm,
And we have to bust through those stories that they're telling themselves. And sometimes you have to be clear with pressing that pain. We're not being mean by pressing the pain. We are trying to get you to get out of pain quicker, right? We're trying to
mhm,
get you to recognize it as pain. We're trying to help you to understand it's not okay for you to stay there knowing that's not where you want to be, right? And so y'all already know my personality is straight talk, right? Like I go straight to the pain. Oh, you're posting like once a month and you really think people waiting on that once a month, but you're doing nothing to have them to understand that you're only going to post once a month and that is your routine, and what you're posting is disjointed. People are going to forget you. It's not going to work. So because you're not putting the work in, you're not going to get out of it what you want. Ooh, that hurt a little bit, but you need to know that you're causing your own pain, and you can have a transformation if you recognize the pain and you understand you want to get out of it, and then now you start listening at a different level, right? So what about your prompt? Which one did you kind of choose?
um, well, when I just did it, I didn't do it based off that. When I dropped the prompt, I just did it when I think about Kennedy Media as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know if I'm good for your example on that.
How
Hmm.
you use it might be how somebody else wants to use it. So I just want to know how you used it. How
I
did you use the
did,
prompt?
let me see, because the prompt, let me see what your content, the question is, okay. Now I'm going based off the what was in our chat,
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Yeah.
When I think about, because I have a lot over here. If anybody know me, y'all know I'll be taking a gazillion notes. I take robust notes over here when Shay is
Ma'am,
speaking.
I'm just asking you to pick one of the 6 transformations.
But that's not what it is in there for me. Like in mine, that's
Or one
not
of the 5, I
it.
think it's 5. All
That's
right.
not,
I
you
tell
gotta
you what, we'll
pass. You
we'll
gotta
come
pass.
back to
Yeah, you
you.
gotta
Yeah,
pass.
we'll
Mm-mm,
come back to you.
mm-mm.
All right, let's go to Dr. Latoya Davis. Dr. Latoya Davis. All right.
Right.
Which of these transformations do you know you need to put into working it out to get a better transformation? And if you've already used the prompt, tell me about the transformation and the results that you got.
Okay, well, similar. Um, but no, I this is great. I use
Mhm.
both Chat GPT and Claude.
Okay.
Um, and I'm launching a new program. And so basically I was like, here are the things, what you know about me, tell me which one is the best based on where I am. So Claude told me that 4 and 2 should be my priority as I go into this launch, and more specifically 4, which was the revenue, the sequencing, content sequencing to revenue. What I liked about the answers in Chat GPT though is I probably derailed Claude because I gave it my landing page and then it started updating content for my landing page. But what I loved about Chat GPT was that it gave me like the content buckets to use based on the goals that we've set.
Exactly,
And
exactly.
the main content shift. So yes.
I love that. I love that. Dr. Tachi said for her it's number 5. I have renumbered them, Dr. Toya. So hers is the same as yours. The number 5 is that planning, posts, and revenue sequencing. So I want to show you guys live how I'm going to use this post, right? Because what we said was we got to go beyond hooks. We got to go beyond just educating. We got to go beyond trying to be consistent with our content. And we need to get into the things that actually have our content, do the work of qualifying leads before they ever get into a funnel, before we ever pitch them anything, right? So let me see, my content transformation, let me pick one. I want to go from sharing stories. So I'm gonna put that right there. To identity mirroring. Okay. My offer is a monthly membership for time management focused on goal achievement for entrepreneurs to have a freedom-based operation. Okay. I want to create content about, let me see. Motivation is bullshit because it is only a feeling and not something that will consistently get results. Okay. So that's what I want to talk about. But I wanted to give me ideas based on storytelling that has identity mirroring, right? So give me ideas to achieve the goal. For context about the content transformation, consider, and all I'm going to do, because y'all have access to my notes, is what is everything I just said about that section of going to that transformation. So I'm going to take that out. I'm gonna put all that information in there. So I wanted to give me ideas of what to talk about to go from just sharing stories to having them to say, wait, she's talking to me. Wait, that's me, right? They're looking in the mirror. So, okay, the difference between content creator and identity shifter. Basic motivational content says you can do it. Identity mirroring says you keep waiting to feel like doing it. And that's exactly why your business still depends on chaos. Ooh, that was hard hitting. I would have to definitely give y'all a hug if after I said that. But does that not sound like something I would say? All right. The second one punches people in the chest because they recognize themselves. Your audience is not struggling with motivation. They're struggling with emotional leadership, consistency without dopamine, identity attachment to chaos, lack of operational structure, confusing inspiration with execution, and building businesses that only work when they are quote unquote in the mood. Jesus is what I'm gonna say. Call this us. Is that not the emotional stuff that will say, oh, wait, she talking to me? Right? So when I'm starting to tell stories, it need to have these elements in it so that they say, hey, she talking to me. That identity is there. So that is the content vein. You are not selling planners or time management. You are selling freedom through operational self-leadership. So let's see what it said. Core identity shift. We want to go from I work when I feel motivated to I build systems that work even when my feelings don't. All right. So that's the brand, not hustle, not grind culture, all of that. So it gave me content angles. I can talk about motivation is on vacation, but not a business strategy. That's great. It gives me information about that. Number two, you don't need more motivation, you need fewer decisions. Ooh, that's a good one. Okay. Your business is addicted to last minute energy. Wow. You keep calling it burnout, but some of it is lack of structure. I love that. I love that. So you see how now it's giving me content that is telling a story that is helping them to identify who they are. It's making them hold up a mirror and say, wait, that's me. They talking about me. So this goes beyond a hook. This goes beyond, should I post it on Facebook or Instagram? This goes beyond, I'm just going to post every day. This is the actual strategy that the people that when I put this content out there, they're going to be perfect for this membership because this membership solves these issues. So, Shawana or Dr. Toya, what do you think about this as the output and giving me the type of content I should be putting out there when the transformation that I'm picking is I don't want to just story tell consistently. I want to story tell and make them self-identify.
I definitely agree. And to me, this is what you do. And based off the season, and you do very well with your clients of doing this. I mean, maybe now, because of course we have things that can just run them real quick and put them in bullets, but this is how you operate though, Shay, to me.
Yeah, yeah.
So for me, it's not um, like a brain buster, because this is who you are, this is how you work, and it's just look good when we can see it like this, because this of course can be done faster and it's cleaner and all of the things, but this is what you do, so this does not surprise me at all when it pertains to you.
I understand, but I'm showing you like you don't have to be the prompt engineer. I gave you the prompt, right? Now I'm showing you an example of how you put in your simple information and how it's going to do the thinking for you to get you where you want to be with the actual content, right?
Definitely,
So
that's why y'all
we
need to be in studio so y'all can grab these prompts.
listen. So I gave you guys the link to that ChatGPT example so that you can kind of look it over, see how I actually used the prompt, the results that it gave me, because all I did was filled in the blank. All I did was told it which transformation from what to what, right? I told them the idea I had on the topic that I wanted to talk about. And then I told them the offer that, I'm trying to get behavior and mirroring and shift and create qualified buyers for. What is the offer, right? And I told it, hey, use the transformation that we talked, the information from the transformation that we talked about, and you give me the content I should be talking about to get this transformation. And it was good. It was good. Dr. Toya, with that example that I showed, I know you probably over there working. You in Claude and ChatGPT, probably in Perplexity. You in everywhere over there. So what do you think now that I gave you an example?
No, just those two. Yeah, no, that's pretty much similarly to the outcome is similar to how yours came out. Mine is just based on,
Yeah.
my chat's memory of working with me. But no, I definitely like how it gives me the angles and but I keep saying buckets because that's what I call them. But
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I like that because it just gives it a very easy plan to go from. And I agree with Shawana was saying, the specificity. Yes, the
Mm-hmm.
specificity of the direction. What I love about this is the last thing. What I love is at the end. So it gave me like all of this stuff at the beginning, you know, here the different, it broke down each of the different categories with an example, right? And then tell me why I'm using that one. But then at the end, I love a nice succinct sentence, even though I'm not talking succinctly today. It says, your main content shift. So it wraps it all up. It says you are not just creating content that says, here's something inspiring. You're creating content that says, here's the pattern. Here's what it's costing you. Here's why your current tools have not fully shifted. And then this
Yes.
is the identity required now. Here is why Inner Alchemy, that's my offer, exists.
Mm-hmm.
And it says this is the movement from content creation to buyer qualification. And so for me, I love a good through line. And that
Yes.
just like put it in a very like clear visual through line for me.
I love it. I love it. So this is why we're going beyond the things that we've learned before, right? So we understand hooks. We understand we need to be consistent. We understand about the platforms and the features and all of that kind of stuff. This conversation and make it make sense is we're going beyond that, and we need strategies that are higher levels and next levels so that we can get to higher levels in our next level, right? All right, great. This has been the Make It Make Sense Live, which is an interactive business discussion as part of our free First Six Figures Business Mastermind community that positions Black and Brown female online service-based entrepreneurs to generate your first six figures by learning how to make the money to fund your lifestyle of freedom. All right. This is part of a week-long business discussion meant to position you and your business for growth on your journey to your first six figures. So yesterday, which was it was this morning, but yesterday was Tuesday, is Talk About It Tuesday, where you answer the discussion questions that we talked about today. But today, on Wednesdays, we have the live discussion where you get value around the topic that those questions are giving you a preview of, right? Which is the discussion we had today. So stay tuned in the community here on YouTube tomorrow, because every Thursday I give you real life case study examples that drive the value home. And it's called Her Biz Breakdown. Okay. And then finally on Friday, we pull out the morning show episodes from the vault that gave the foundational information, like that hook stuff and the consistency stuff, that inspired this week's next level information. So I do give you some foundational information in case you don't have it, and you will get that on Friday. All right. Find out more about me, your host, Shay Cannon, plus a link to join the free business mastermind group here on YouTube. I make it easy for you. So check that out down below. If you have not already, make sure you give us a thumbs up and like this episode. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel because the value continues. So check out the business breakdown tomorrow. Also, in our community, we are having a movie club night tomorrow. So if you want more information about that, check it out. I think it's in Monday's post where we talked about what's happening this week. But that's what we got going on, and we want you to stay tuned with it. All right. So tomorrow, Biz Breakdown, and join us for movie club night tomorrow night. Friday, we go into the vault and give you the foundational information that is more basic than today for what we got for next level for today. All right. All right, guys. Have a great one. All right. We have ended the stream. In the